One time we were talking about Diego Jota, the footballer for Liverpool who had passed away in a car crash. At the time you said, and there's going to be a new person who will take his position. I haven't watched much football, but of course now with Liverpool, there's someone in there, they've transferred, who scored goals, who's now become a star. He was a replacement for Diego Jota, which was what you had said.
Your parents, they love you, but they don't want you to suffer because they passed away. They want you to continue to strive. They continue to live, continue to do things in their life. So don't worry about many things. Feel sad, feel sorry, but you have to know life continues.
Welcome back to the Rubasha Family Podcast. We're here for another special episode. We wanted to do something extremely special this episode. You know, death is something that comes to all of us. It's something that we should expect. So I wanted to do something very intriguing today. Dad, you know, if you were to die now, what message would you want to leave the earth? How would you want to be remembered?
Yeah. So that's why I say we start thinking and I'm start growing. And I realize what people call a legacy or a message is not what I have to say people to remember me. So what happened, I already left legacy in you. You see, because any person goes anytime. So no one knows when God leaves you. So the missionary lied to us. They say, we don't know the hours and the times Jesus is going to come. No, that is a lie. So it's not a lie. That is a translation they think it was right. But there is other translation means we don't know when God is going to leave us. No one knows the time. So now, to be able been living with you for many years, so I already left some legacy in you. You have some things you got to remember me. That is the legacy I leave in you. Somebody else, somebody else, somebody else. But for me, what sometimes I could say, life is simple. Sometimes you leave a message. Sometimes you leave advice. Sometimes you go without leaving anything or any message, but people still remember you for what you have done. You see, I can give an example. Sometimes no one knows even how market work. Even people who've been doing bad things, people who kill people, people still remember. That is their legacy lived. Yeah, somebody killed people, somebody started wars, somebody did things there. So that is the legacy people lives in their mind. So legacy is not some things I should say to remember.
Marketing is all about storytelling. Dad, when we first started this business, what did you say to me?
I said, yes, we do a podcast.
Why?
Because I want to tell our story.
Why?
Because I know the story builds a legacy.
Builds a legacy. And that is exactly what we do here at ETS Rubasha Media. We market your story on social media so you could build a legacy for those who come after you, to build your business and your personal brand.
Yeah, follow us on our platform. Go on our website, etsrubashamedia.com.
This is about legacy, and it is about showing up on social media every single day, because if you don't show up, your competition will. It's interesting because, like, you know, how do I know about Adolf Hitler? You know, and no matter what the news was, I was always told about this person, you know, this person died so many years ago. But I hear about Adolf Hitler. I've heard about serial killers, for example. So you're right.
Yes. So that's how it works. So most of the times people society been taught us, oh, a legacy somebody did which is good, or somebody has done. Yeah, no, it's a different. So you leave legacy to different people. So it's not some things I have to earn it. It's not some things I have to make it. But for example, before somebody long time ago asked me that question, I said, how do you people want to remember? And then I said, At least I remember me, I used a guy who liked to dress well, to feel look good, you know, look presentable. So it could be a legacy. Somebody has seen you. And then because I sees you always look good, and then he be touched and he change to be looking good because he has seen in me something there. So that is the legacy. So legacy is somebody, you see somebody's doing, and then you take it. And there are people who have been already dead, also who can leave a legacy in you. For example, all this teaching I'm teaching, I learned from Neville Goddard, and I learned from Reverend Ike. I used to listen. I also listen Al Nightingale. So all those, they're all the motivational speaker. So how come I listen to them in 2020 and then they leave a legacy in me? I listen to them like some things I think I know them. See, Neville Goddard died, I think, 97 or 1968, long time ago. But what has taught me, and because I've been listening him every time, I think like he's somebody I know. Can you imagine how life works? And the things of teaching, he recorded in 1930, and I listened in 2020.
And you still talk about
So that's good we are doing now. What you are doing now, from 2020. So this is something you say, oh, you don't have followers, you don't want to follow, no one listen to you. But because this message is for long time, 10 years, 50 years, and that's legacy people will leave.
So when we die, people will be listening to these conversations between father and son. We'll be listening and hearing what we have to say, inspiring from generations and generations. So let me ask you, for example, Mr. Brown, which we knew from our church, had passed away recently, and he had his funeral, and I heard so many amazing reviews that so many people were there. It was packed. It was like a stadium. It was, so what you're saying is, when you meet people, you can impact them in a way that they will always remember you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, individual. So each individual know Mr. Brown, what he has done to them. So most immigrants know him the way he has welcomed to his house. So, but the white people, they got to know him the way he preached them, the way he interacted with them in different ways. So now the most legacy he left in immigrant or Africans or Bangladesh is about Jesus, and also is the kind to welcome and to give them accommodation to their houses. See, you come to Australia, somebody welcome you, give you a place to stay. So that is legacy he leaves in you. You will never forget, because that is some things you needed. But somebody like a preacher or another one from a Presbyterian church, so that one is not going to see that legacy on him, because he never need to have that access to his accommodation or something there. So like the people who went to teach to drive cars, the people who go to teach swimming, there's all those activities. So it's some things you do in somebody's mind and then keep remember you. So that is why any person you have already accounted with, you have met with them, always stays you with your mind. So the person who died, you bury him in your cemetery. So the cemetery is not where we go to bury them physical body, no. Your mind is where everybody who passed away, you go to see them. So now I see Mr. Brown. Take them to Scott College. I see him preaching in Kogra, in Rockdale. I see him taking us to the Easter camp. The first time we came to Australia, we went to Easter camp. You can't forget those because he's there, always with me. Even you is there, always with you. So that's some things just come with. I can talk to my father. My father can come remember with him. My mother, everybody who passed away, there is no other place you're going to see them. So the people you know who passed away, you go to see them in the mind. And they can come anytime. And the part things where our mind is so powerful, when they came alive. They don't come as dead. Or only way they came as dead, even if you went to see them and you see their body. See, you remember, when my grandmother, your grandmother died, did you go to see the body?
I think so.
Yes. Did you go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Yes. So all those thinking happen. That is the legacy she leaves in you, because those things keep coming anytime. Yes. And they come live.
So let me ask you, like, let's say if you were to pass away now, like, oh, you know, it's your father and it's sad. How do you think someone moves on with their life with that? How do you turn it into a positive thing? Like, is it okay to express those feelings? How do you process that? And then the next question would be, what's the difference between the way, let's say, for example, white people see death and Africans? Because I asked my brother, I said, hey, at Mr. Brown's funeral, was there people crying? And he said, no, not at all. I spoke to someone, he was telling me, oh, in our tribe, Luya, for example, he said, your mum's tribe, in the funeral, he said, you'll be shocked. Everyone is crying, everyone is weeping. He said, yeah, he said, when you come, you'll understand what I'm talking about. You see, you'll be shocked. That's what he had said to me. He said, like, for example, where your mum is from, they all weep and they cry on the funeral. So, yeah, two-part question. How do you see death as a positive thing? And then what's the difference between the way Africans and, let's say, other cultures see death?
Yeah, so what happened is the emotions. African, you have that really emotions, and that is why, so the white society have lived experience, so they put that emotion on the side. So because they realize people, they have got to die. It's normal to die. Yeah, so because the missionaries, again, it's in the Bible, the way they taught us about death, they made us, as African, they explained to us, they translated us that death is something evil, is something bad, is something like a punishment. And now, those fear, those negative fear, we feel somebody went away. So that is why you see people crying. And also crying is not most of the times because they are sad. See, sometimes some people can cry even they are happy. The person is passed away. So most people think because they are crying, they are sad. No. So you can even cry when you are happy. So you can't know. So, but that is what the difference means, because the people thinking different way. So our emotion take away in a different direction. Yeah. So it's some things they are made us to be fear. I used to be fear of death, even though we know, even we have experience. Some point of time, somebody is good to go. So now, sometimes the strong emotion it happen if somebody died, like your parents died, when you see depending on them, when you know they are the one, they was a breadwinner, he had to bring the food, he's working, and you know if he's going to pass away, your life is going to go. So you go to feel bad, you go to feel weak, but again, the same times, he have to wakens you up. So death are waking up. And they also sometimes death, sometimes I say these people, they get angry. So sometimes somebody had to die to make issues goes away. So people die because they've been fighting in a local court. They have been fighting with for money, or somebody was greedy with money. Somebody was giving hard time to the family. So only way God also make that situation to go away, he had to kill that person. So no one knows why a person died. No one knows. But there are some people who died, and then some things which was not to be able to happening, it can happen.
I remember one time you told me death creates opportunity. Death creates opportunity. And I was like, it just strung in my head. I remember one time we were talking about Diego Jota, the footballer for Liverpool who had passed away in a car crash. What did you say? You said at the time, you said, and there's going to be a new person who will take his position. That now
His
that's
position
created
is.
for. Now, I haven't watched much football, but of course now with Liverpool, there's someone in there. They've transferred, they've bought from France, who's scored goals, who's now become a star, who's made the national team, from Liverpool. He was a replacement for Diego Jota, which was what you had said. And now it's
Yes.
kind of forgotten. Does Diego Jota have a legacy? He has a legacy with his family, with his friends. Even in Liverpool, he has a legacy that maybe during 100 years from now,
Yes.
children will know who Diego Jota is.
Yes. Because also he leave legacy to Liverpool fans. For that time he was there. There are people who go to remember the score. They go to know how he did all those transfer that time. But again,
His goals will still be playing on, like, just like the same
Yes.
way we watch the
Yes.
legends of Maradona. His goals will still be playing there. So yeah, you
Yes.
said death creates opportunity. I see even certain, like, even one of my favorite rappers who had passed away, that created an opportunity where, because some of the content is in there, then
Yes.
I'm getting opportunities. I'm getting fans who are commenting who like this person. Then they're commenting. So my social media has grown and get 10,000 views in one video, not because of me, because the legacy of that person. So it's created an opportunity where even I can monetize it. Now people can come and watch my rap videos. They say, oh, people comment, Sujiro, I love those videos that you're doing. I don't know who they are, but then also that's now become, but it's because of this person who's passed away, who's now created an
Yes.
opportunity for me.
There's a people now. There's somebody who give hard time to people somewhere at work. Give them hard time. People go to clock in, they're scared. They know that person is thinking there. Like 20 people, they're scared the morning to go to work. He stressed them and do thinking there. What do you think that people think? Say, I wish this person would time me go. And then guess what? He's going to get passed away. And those 20 people, they're going to have freedom for whatever they've been living. But again, maybe his appearance is going to cause a grief from them, because the family is going to miss them. There's parents who give hard time to their children. There's husbands who give hard time to their wives, to the whole family. And no one can do anything. Only things happen, somebody can pass away. And then people can be free. You could have something, a lot of things you can't give to people. You hold on things there. See? So all those circumstances, when we talk about it in our community, African community, people think, oh, we don't respect death. We don't do things there. No, it's not that case. I tell you, you go to Google it, you go to find out. There's a bishop who died in Kenya, and his congregation and the churches, and he passed away. He was praying to people. The church spent in Kenya 140,000 Australian dollars, equivalent of 14 million Kenya shillings. So there is no person in Australia, even though they are rich here in Australia, who go to spend at funeral that kind of money. And there's a bishop. Why? So those emotions, we wonder why the congregation can do that, can spend that money for somebody who go pass away. So no one knows it's happening there. So those emotions we have, sometimes we have to figure out, and also the time will tell, because it can't keep going the way it's going. You see, death in the Muslim, it's simple. It's simple. When a Muslim passed away, and that remember, it's about mental and about financial. 3 days is done. They don't need to have a huge expenses. They need to have to build coffins. No, just wrap up nature and put them there. Now, when you look now, where I say Christianity now, especially white people, knows how to monetize everything. They monetize everything. They have to take you in the mortuary, maybe a week. They have to make sure you have a coffin. Now, they made a coffin which is special with gold. And then the place they go to dig you, they go to put there in the cemetery. They have the one for poor people, the middle class, and the rich people. You know, the cemetery for rich people maybe 10,000. See, white people have been monetizing everything. See, and the dead. Look, ambulance. They had to take you there. They had to bring those cars there. So it's the whole economic issue. That's where a white person has fighting always with Muslim. Because they know how Muhammad knew how to do things simple way. But when the Jesus came, it's more commercial for white people. Everything is commercialized. That is the difference for Jesus and the Muhammad.
You know, even just speaking on that topic, maybe it's the market or the way life works. So
Yes,
you know,
it's global market.
so I was at a funeral one time, not a funeral, sorry, like a funeral home where they keep, you know, a time, and then so I just see what's around me. So I go to the kiosk and then I buy something, and then I went to that place the next day. I went and bought from the kiosk again. Then I was looking at the kiosk. I said, "Do you get a lot of business here?" And then he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Because of the funeral home." He said, "Yes, we get a lot of business from the funeral home because people have died, but then they're thirsty. They need gum, they need snacks, so they come to the kiosk." There was also a school around there. So I said, in my mind, death creates it's a cycle, it's a transaction. So, like you said, even the cost, if you leave the body somewhere, there's bills that are it's not for free. There's bills that are charged every night. In there, that's why you said maybe that when you gave the comparison of Islam and Christianity, Islam, because there's bills to keep a body in a place day by day, like you said, 3 days, that maybe boom, that's it, and then you know finished. Where this side, you know, there's a lot of expenses, as you could call it, you know, and white people also created something called life insurance, you know. So if someone dies, instead of people raising money or sending money to people, boom, maybe the family gets. So it's something that even when you're alive, they prepare for. They have. So it seems like, is it a transaction? Like, is that what it means by its opportunity? And then also, how do we take it as? If I now know this information, how do I take death as something positive? How do I, or how should I react to it? How would you tell your grandchildren, if your grandchildren, my children are watching this and their grandfather's talking, how should my grandchildren react to death?
So they have to know life and death, we don't control it. No one chooses to be born, and no one chooses to die. And no one know when we were born, where we were before, and no one will know if we die when it's good to go. So we have to accept it. We have to make sure it's part of life. Death and life, and death and born is part of our life. So we have to enjoy it. Yes. There's nothing else we go to do. Of course, on the day when it happened, you feel sad. You feel sad you miss somebody. You feel sad you couldn't see somebody. But in life, people, they maybe cry for somebody. Maybe they haven't seen those people alive for 5 years. So it's mean, if you're not interested to see somebody when he's still alive, to visit them, to give them a drink, to interact with them. So it means you are not interested with them. So now
But
when
then
they die, you start going there crying. But when they're alive, you never do anything there. So it's the same things most Africans we do. Africans, somebody can tell you this person is in hospital. They need money to be helped. They need something to do thing there. There's a bill you have to pay. So people, they can refuse to contribute when you're a doctor, or they refuse to contribute to buy you bread or food or a drink. But guess what? When you die, they are full contributing when already passed away. We have to look after ourselves. We have to look at each other when we're still alive. But we do other way. We know somebody died, is how we start doing what we're supposed to do. Then that's the difference. And that's the way we have chosen. You remember, what we go through now in Africa, even white people, they went through this a long period of time. But later they learn how life it is. That's how they change. That's how they start thinking life insurance or death insurance. Because they know, okay, we're not keeping asking people money. How about we do this? So now they create death insurance, which you have to put money, we have to contribute, and the time will go and think there. So I think that's how life, the whole community sometimes is good to go, because it's how it works. And then because the cost of now burial, the cost of funeral is getting more expensive. That is why in Australia, if you don't have money, there's a charity who's going to put you in the funeral. They go to do everything for you. You don't need to pay anything. The charity does. Salvation Army does it. St. Vincent, yeah, does it. But what did they go to do? Somebody had to be buried. Otherwise, what thing there? So is those emotions, is those thing there? See, like your father-in-law passed away, so they go to contribute, and they're going to do all those, and then that's how life is. But those emotions in Kenya, we call it traditions. So those traditions keep us emotional sadness. And you can't do anything. Because, do you know why? Life continues. If your loved one died, your stomach is still in need food. You're not going to say, oh, your mother or your dad passed away. You don't eat for a week, you'll be okay. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to eat. And that's why I say, I learned through everything I say through my experience. So when I'm talking about death, it's through my experience. I didn't even know where my father's body is. So that is why I know only from never go that. Don't worry about that, because your father, it's with you every single day. Your father is in your mind. So that's why I don't care anymore. I don't have that emotion there. If I haven't buried my father, why should I worry to bury anyone else there? That's how I change.
Speaking on that, like we lost our father, my father-in-law, Mr. Osu, and before he passed away, we talked about African names. I was asking him about Luyo names. He's told his name was Atieno Osu, and then he was saying, in Luyo, we name our children by when they're born. So now when I see some Luyos, I say, what's your name? They'll tell me Akinyi. And then because that's the legacy he left, he told me Akinyi means born in the morning. So now when I see this person say, oh, you were born in the morning, you're Luyo. So that's the conversation we had. And like you said, for example, Sundays was the day he would stay home. He would stay home and he used to cook, and he'd cook for the family, and he was a good cook. You see, this is legacy. So I'm like, wow, even me inspired me. I said, you know what? Even me, sometimes I have this attitude that, I don't want to cook. I don't have time to cook. And it's true. I don't want to. But I thought, like, even that is a legacy in itself. That, you know, Mr. Osul he used to cook good food, yama, ugali, boga, you know. So it's a wow, like this is what legacy is, you know, to leave the legacy in people's mind and in how they remember you, and he'll always be remembered, you know, even in my mind. And like what I like to say, I think that's why what we're doing is so important, creating content, because, you know, again, I'm not just someone who, when people die, we start to post them. No, I'm gonna post you when you're alive. You know, I'm gonna post people when they're alive, when they're here. I do it now because, you know, yeah, I just, that thing of, oh, when people now pass away is when we want to start, you know, reaching out or thing. And it's like, you know, I don't know. That's how I feel. So it's powerful. Legacy.
Yeah, life continue. Life continue. So always remember, it doesn't matter what you do. See, if people passed away, and that's how it works, life move on. And now, the people who die in the war, who die in a genocide, who died in a different circumstance there, who died in a heart attack. It could be with your own house. Mr. Brown, he was in his home, a place where he was secure, you know, but he passed away. Some people who are walking on the street, on pavement, and the car is going to find you there. So all those circumstances we have been go through over and over and over and over and over. You remember when he came to Australia, the house we live in, that guy, Mr. Perth, lived to the church for Mr. Brown church. So guess what? He had to die, and then when he came, we can live there. That's how it is. All those people built these houses in Australia in 1900. All these houses, there were only white people live there. So now when they're building them, they build them to the people they didn't know. So now there's African who live there, there's Muslim who live there, there's every all sort of society who live there. Maybe when he has it, he say, oh, no immigrant who can live here. They got to live here because he got to go away. He got to pass away. Somebody, you don't know who's going to come to live there. See, it could be your children. It could be other somebody's children. It could be other person's children. So those are things we are keep saying there. You keep angry with your parents. You keep fighting with your siblings. You keep fighting with your friends, wherever you do thinking there. And then somebody passed away, and then you start feeling guilty. Oh, I wish I should have done that. I wish I would have been done that. See, let's encourage us to live together in life. Let's enjoy when we see life. You know, you don't say, oh, I will not talk to that person, and the person you know, maybe you're related, and then when he goes there, a car hit him, and then you start crying. Why? Because you feel guilty. You haven't been communicating with these people when they are alive. If I haven't seen you for 5 years, and you die, it's mean you haven't been in my life for a long, long time. Why? Because maybe there is no interaction. But if somebody sits every single day, you interact every single day, so the feelings is different. By the end of the day, it is death. People still go to the cemetery around the places. They think their people stay there. No. That is the land. That is the land the fresh goes there. The fresh mean nothing. You remember when you go to see Onyango's dad, you're not calling him again his name. You just say, oh, the body. Why? Because it's not alive anymore. So when you see people going to the cemetery there, so they don't know, they still have that understand that death is not in the cemetery. That's where the body is there. The body, it means nothing. And all those bodies, it goes back where it's coming from. No one knows what is happening today. No one is there. But the person is in you, in your mind. Is every single day. He came anytime. And that is why when he came, he's alive. He doesn't come when he's dead. When my father talked to me, you know, you have something you remember about him. Driving cars, walking on the house, these things there. everywhere you are with that person, it can come to you in your mind. That's why I say mind is God. Do you know why mind is God? Your mind doesn't have time. Anything happened 30 years ago, you can see it in your mind. That is why it's so powerful. Don't go to cemetery to look your father-in-law. Always you know he's with you. Remember how you talk to him. You eat. You share food with him. That is the legacy. That is there. And it's going to come every time, everything there. Of course, feeling sad, feeling sorry, those emotions. But as the time it goes, those emotions goes away. That's how it works.
Because like there's only like so much tears that you can have. Then you cry, like there's, you know, then you're like there's only so much, and then you have to, you know, then you have to get up, you have to do things. It only so much that it can keep going.
That's why I was telling you, your stomach is not going to say, oh, your dad died, so you stay a week without eating. It doesn't work like that. If it affect you for your living, I mean, you could have a problem too. And it's not, no one is, even is your parents. They love you, but they don't want you to suffer because they passed away. They want you to continue to strive. They continue to live, continue to do things in a life. Yeah. So don't worry about many things. Feel sad, feel sorry, but you have to know life continues. So that things you need more inspiration, more motivations. You know, it's not only about praying. Prayers sometimes it doesn't help for those kind of emotions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for another great episode. I'm getting ready to do another webinar. So thank you so much for coming in, and yeah, inspiring message that people can get motivation from. So make sure you stay tuned to the Rubasha Family Podcast.
And then so unaendeleaje na Kiswahili yako?
Iko poa, you know, nimeongea with these brothers, and I said wongea Kiswahili, hakuna mzungu, just Kiswahili, so no nilawongea.
So uendelee kujifunza, ndio vizuri, kwa sababu ni lugha yako, ni lugha ya Afrika, so lazima ujue lugha ya kutoka kwenu.
And unajua Kiswahili wapi? From Kigali or how?
Nilijifunzia Kiswahili hapo Nairobi. Yeah, Kiswahili yangu tu ni kuongea tu hapo barabara tu Nairobi, nikajua tu nikaongea.
So barabara, huh?
Yeah, barabara tu. So hili si lugha ya kuenda kwa shule ama kwa, you know, unaendelea tu kuongea, inakuja tu peke yake. Sawa, nimeongea Kiswahili sana cause nalewa kila kitu, lakini tuongea nimesahau grammar. I am present, nile, you know, so that's my struggle. Wachana hizo mambo ya grammar, we enda tu uongee Kiswahili kwa barabara. Wachana na hiyo mambo ya grammar, mambo ya nini. So Kiswahili sio lugha kwenda kwa shule, kwa ukae hapo, hapana. Uongea tu kwa barabara, sikia vile unasikia neno moja, kesho unasikia neno ingine, utajua tu pole pole.
Sawa. Asante sana.
Karibu.
Okay. Hey, what's wrong? Bro, I'm stressed out. I'm running my business. I've got to serve my customers, but I need more customers coming in. I can't keep relying on word of mouth. Why don't you just use ETS Rubasha Media? Who? Well, with AI now, what they do is they go in, get your perfect clients, bring them in front of you. So all I got to do is run my business, and he brings me opportunities. Think about it. You speak to 3,000 of your ideal customers, convert 1% of that 3,000. That's 30 people. 30 people in a room with you. Can you convert that? Of course I'll close them. I'm good at what I do. I just don't have time to be going and looking for my perfect client. Focus on what you love doing and let them bring you customers. When you win, they win, commission, ching. Sujira Rubasha, huh? Yeah, Sujira Rubasha. Go and Google them, man. Come on, take it to the bank.
If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're going to love that one.